Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Timon of Athens, and today we are in Act 4, Scene 2, and we get to hear from Steward, as he is known in the folio. In other versions, they say that this is Flavius, but in the folio, this whole scene is just full of various servants and this steward. Other versions will put Flaminius and Servilius there, but then also just like Timon's servant and random sort of half-named characters. And if you want to explore the difference between Flavius being continuously loyal to Timon throughout the play versus it being a different steward each time Steward comes on, it might be interesting to see what that looks like. But anyway, that bit aside. So Timon exploded at everybody in Athens at this dinner. He was throwing plates, he was throwing food, there wasn't food, he served them all hot water, and then was flicking water at them and throwing things at them and cursing them and all this sort of thing. And they're all like, where did that come from? He's being all weird. And then Timon has decided to leave Athens. He just picks up and leaves Athens and curses the whole city on his way out and hopes that his heart can remain hard against humanity for the rest of his life. But now here in Act 4, Scene 2, we're back at Timon's house where all the servants are still there. And they're like, wait, so he's just gone and the house is bankrupt and closing up? Like, he was a good guy. How could that have happened? Like, he was always nice and he was generous and all this sort of stuff. And all of the servants end up coming together and some more servants enter. And Flavius / the steward sort of takes the lead of the whole thing. Because, mind you, all of these people are now out of jobs now that Timon is gone. So whether or not Timon actually had the money to pay them, they're now completely out of jobs and definitely won't be getting any money. But Flavius calls them all together and says, good fellows all, the latest of my wealth I'll share amongst you. Wherever we shall meet, for Timon's sake, let's yet be fellows. Let's shake our heads and say, as 'twere knell unto our master's fortunes, we have seen better days. Let each take some. Nay, put out all your hands. Not one word more. Thus part we rich in sorrow, parting poor. And they all leave, and then he's just left by himself, like they might hug. And then they go, and he's by himself, and he says, oh, the fierce wretchedness that glory brings us. Who would not wish to be from wealth exempt, since riches point to misery and contempt? Who would be so mocked with glory, or to live but in a dream of friendship, to have his pomp and all what state compounds, but only painted like his varnished friends? Poor honest lord, brought low by his own heart, undone by goodness. Strange, unusual blood, when man's worst sin is, he does too much good. Who then dares to be half so kind again? For bounty that makes gods do still mar men. My dearest lord, blessed to be most accursed, rich only to be wretched, thy great fortunes are made thy chief afflictions. Alas, kind lord, he's flung in rage from this ingrateful seat of monstrous friends. Nor has he with him to supply his life, or that which can command it. I'll follow and inquire him out. I'll ever serve his mind with my best will. Whilst I have gold, I'll be his steward still. So, and then the scene ends. So what he's doing at the beginning, he takes the last of the money that he has and he splits it with the other servants that are there so that they have a little bit of something, and they all decide that they're going to part ways as friends, and they will still, like they'll always remember the good old days when they served Timon, that sort of a thing. And then they all leave, they hug each other, whatever, and then they leave, and he's left by himself, and he's like, what a miserable state it is to be undone by your own kindness, and to like the fact that he could be so kind and have everything taken away from him is now going to discourage anybody else from ever being kind, because who would want to put themselves into the position where they're just surrounded by fake friends who are taking stuff from them all the time? Like, there's a lesson to be learned here from the way that Timon was treated, and this steward slash Flavius is perhaps afraid that the lesson that people are going to take away from it is don't be nice, which is a sad state of affairs. It's a sad commentary on things, but he's still very loyal to Timon. He calls him, my kind lord, my dearest lord. He calls him that sort of thing many times, even just as he's talking to himself. He's reflecting fondly on his time with Timon, and he's like, and now Timon's gone, and he didn't even take anything with him to be able to survive out there. So this steward slash Flavius decides that he is going to follow after Timon and try to continue to serve him, try to continue to be his steward and take care of him sort of regardless, because Timon deserves that much. And that's the end of Act 4, Scene 2. So I think it's an interesting, we've got this play where so many people don't have names and where people are just sort of these archetypes, and it's interesting that the people with titles and status in the society treated Timon so poorly, and the people without the titles and the status in this society treat Timon so well, or want to treat Timon well and feel like he deserves to be treated well. So it's, I think, just an interesting commentary on how different people respond to kindness and generosity and gifts and that sort of thing. So anyway, sorry, don't mean to harp on that. But come on back tomorrow. We get to check in and see how Timon is doing, living out in the woods, where he was going to seek out the unkindest beast, because that beast would be kinder to him than mankind is. Anyway, we'll see how he's doing tomorrow. I'll see you then. Mwah.